Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Retno Shifa, and today's video I will talk about something different. The topic is about performance enhancing drug. Has it ever crossed in your mind how someone can always have stamina in doing all the work? And what comes to my mind is how an athlete can maintain their body so that they always have stamina and energy. To compete in modern professional sport, to win gold or to hold a trophy high as the flag is raised and the national anthem played is the dream of many. But it will come true for only a few. Only the gifted, only the dedicated, only the best will win. And maybe a few drug cheats. The pressure to win leads some athletes to use drugs that might give them an edge. These are called performance enhancing drugs. Use of this drug is known as doping, but doping comes with risks. Learn more about the effect that performance-enhancing drugs can have on health. So let's find out. So the definitions of performance-enhancing substance, also known as performance-enhancing drugs or PEDs, substances that are used to improve any form of activity's performance in humans. A well-known example of cheating in sport involves doping in sport, where banned physical performance-enhancing drugs are used by athletes and bodybuilders. Athlete performance-enhancing substances are sometimes referred as agrogenic aids, cognitive performance-enhancing drugs, commonly called nootropics, are sometimes used by students to improve academic performance. Performance-enhancing substances are also used by military personnel to enhance combat performance. And now I will talk about drugs in sport, and we commonly call it doping. There are as many different performance-enhancing drugs or PEDs as there are sports, and it's a big job trying to keep track of them all. In 1999, an internationally independent organization, the World Anti-Doping Authority or WADA, was established. It works to coordinate the fight against doping in sport internationally, and is assisted in this task by organizations around the world such as the Australian Sport Anti-Doping Authority, the United States Anti-Doping Agency, and many others. Next is types of performance-enhancing drugs. Among the most popular PEDs are anabolic steroid, human growth hormone, erythropoietin or EPO, beta blockers, stimulants, and diuretics, to name just a few. And this is a few of PEDs. First is stimulants. Stimulants are drugs that directly affect the central nervous system. They work to speed up part of the brain and body, increasing the heart rate, blood pressure, metabolism, and body temperature of the user. They are used by athletes to reduce tiredness and fatigue and to increase alertness, competitiveness, and aggressiveness. The most common stimulants detected in anti-doping tests include amphetamines, cocaine, ecstasy, and methylphenidate or Ritalin. The actual effect vary according to the drug and to its method of ingestion. Drugs that are snorted or injected will produce more immediate results than those that are taken in pill form. And the risks of using stimulants vary for each drug, but in general are high. For example, cocaine use can cause panic attack and paranoia, lead of the loss of smell and problems swallowing, becoming addictive, and in rare case lead to heart attack. The percentage of stimulants in the body can be tested by a variety of procedures. Urine is the primary means to test for stimulants, although blood serum can also be tested and occasionally saliva. Next is anabolic steroid. Anabolic steroids are drugs derived from testosterone, a hormone which is produced in the testes of males and to a much lesser extent in the ovaries of females. Testosterone is particularly responsible for the developmental changes that occur during puberty and adolescence, and is also involved in controlling the build-up and breakdown of the mind, biochemical component of all tissues, including muscle. There are two types of anabolic androgenetic steroid. First is exogenous steroid, are synthetically create versions of the testosterone hormone. These substances cannot be naturally produced by the body. And the second one is the endogenous steroid, are naturally occurring substances in the human body that are infiltrated with the metabolic pathway of testosterone, because testosterone affects muscle growth. Raising its level in the blood can help athletes increase muscle size and strength. Anabolic steroids can be taken in tablet form or injected directly in the muscle. Athletes who use anabolic steroid claims that as well as increasing muscle mass, they reduce body fat and recovery time after injury. But the androgenic or masculine effects, such as increased body hair and a deepening of the voice, are not always desirable, particularly in women. And medical experts see significant danger in the use, and particularly the gross overuse of anabolic steroid. Some of the effects are minor or only last while the drug is being taken. Others are more serious and long-term. And for example, anabolic steroid can cause high blood pressure, acne, abnormalities in liver functions, alterations in the menstrual cycle in women, decline in sperm production and impotence in men, kidney failure, and heart disease. They can also make both of men and women more aggressive. Today, anabolic steroids and their byproducts can generally be detected quite easily in urine using mass spectrometry. And the last is blood doping. Blood doping is the use of various methods and substances to increase a person's red blood cell mass. Higher level of red blood cell in the blood result in more oxygen being transported to the muscles, resulting in increasing stamina and performance. There are three main types of blood doping. First is erythropoietin or EPO, synthetic oxygen carrier, and the third is blood transfusions. All methods of blood doping are prohibited by the WADA. If blood doping levels are too high, the body will produce too many red blood cells, which can thicken the blood, leading to clotting, heart attack, and stroke. In fact, EPO has been implicated in the death of numerous athletes, predominantly cyclists. Repeated doses of EPO can also stimulate the development of antibodies directed against EPO, which can result in anemia. The long-term health risks of sustained EPO use are still unclear. The test use of combinations of urine testing, which will identify the presence of EPO, direct test, and blood testing, which will show the residual footprint of EPO drugs used over time, in crash tests. And next is long-term effect of doping. Most athletes dope for short-term gain, but what are the long-term implications of using these drugs? From a health perspective, the verdict is unclear. As listed above, all doping drugs have potential immediate or short-term side effects and drawbacks. But scientists are still researching the longer-term effect they may have on the body. Some studies have found evidence of early mortality due to cancer or heart attack amongst previous long-term users of PEDs. But these are inclusive, as other factors such as lifestyle and genetic may also be responsible. Part of the difficulty is in finding athletes who would agree to participate in such as a study. From a performance point of view, scientists from the University of Oslo have released preliminary findings showing that athletes may continue to benefit from having taken banned substance long after the drugs have left their system and their bans have been lifted. The 2030 study, which was undertaken on mice, found that muscles can retain some of the advantages gained through anabolic steroid use for a year, possibly even decade after the drugs were taken. And the last is the bottom line. Some athletes might seem to get an edge from performance-enhancing drugs, but doping can have bad effect on health. In general, the long-term effect of performance-enhancing drugs haven't been studied enough, but new performance-enhancing drugs are constantly being developed, as are the methods used to detect them. And any short-term perks come with risks. Doping is banned by most sport leagues and groups too. Athletes choose to dope for a range of social, emotional, and financial reasons. That's why it's risky to use performance-enhancing drugs. So, that's it for my presentations. Hope you get the point of these presentations. And thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.